Hey guys, we are here at the beginning of second quarter, which means we're going to be talking about the end of first quarter. We're going to go through and talk about what's happening in our local real estate market. How did first quarter close out? What does that possibly mean for second quarter? And then we're going to talk with Jared Hudson, our local mortgage expert on all things mortgages. So let's go into what has happened in our market for first quarter 2026 for Muskogee and Harris County, and then we'll go through Russell and Lee County. All right, Muskogee and Harris County, there have been 532 closed sales, and last year first quarter there were 528, so not a big difference. Pretty much apples to apples. 1% increase, not a huge increase in total closed sales. Average time on the market was 47 days, and for first quarter of last year it was 44 days. Average sales price, that's where we see a little bit of a change. Last year, the average sales price for first quarter was around $261,000. This year, it was $281,000. So that's about a 7.5% increase in average closed sales price. Which has been something that's really been trending, as y'all know, for quite a few years now. We see the average sales price continually going up each year. Not huge leaps and bounds, big numbers like maybe 2021 and 2022, but we're still seeing that incremental growth and overall market value. Right now, there are approximately 577 homes active in the MLS. And of course, that changes by the minute, but that's the number at the time that I pulled them. And this time last year, there were about 344 homes active in the MLS. So we do see an increase in inventory, which means that we also see a shift in, we're seeing about the same number of homes closing right now, but we're seeing a little slight increase on average time on the market, a little more negotiation happening on those sales. We're seeing some general price reductions, nothing crazy, but we're seeing some more average market activity as we see some of the inventory elevate slightly. Total closed volume so far for first quarter was about 149 million, little over that. And that same time, for the same time last year, it was about 139 million. So we've got about a 7%, close to a 7% increase on total closed volume, which goes along with average sales price going up and a few more closed sales for the quarter. Okay, let's look at Russell and Lee County, see what's happening on that side of the river. Total closed sales for first quarter were 276. Total closed sales for first quarter of last year was about 247. So that's almost a 12% increase. Not huge, but a few more closed sales on the Alabama side from this first quarter compared to first quarter of 2025. Average days on the market, 53 days. This time last year, it was about 51 days. Average sales price did go up a little over almost 2%, so not quite as big as Muskogee and Harris County, but average sales price this time last year was $289,500, and for first quarter of this year, it was $294,500. So again, still seeing some increase there. Right now, there are about 283 active listings on the market in Russell and Lee County, excluding Auburn. And this time last year, there were about 256. So we see a little bit more inventory, not anything crazy. Pending sales, there are about 183 pending sales. And this time last year, there were 168 pending sales. I might have missed that number on Muskogee and Harris County. Pending sales right now in Muskogee and Harris County are 346, and this time last year it was 344. So when you look at these numbers, like even on both sides of the river, things are pretty flat. Elevation in overall sales price, but all the other numbers are pretty comparable. Total closed volume for first quarter in Russell and Lee County was about 81 million, and this time last year it was about 69 million. So that's about a 16, almost 17% increase in total closed volume. So we have seen total closed volume go up, but we've also seen average sales price go up, and we've seen a few more closings this year than what we had last year. So that's where those differences are coming in. But that being said, as you can see, the market is pretty comparable in first quarter for 2026 to what it was in first quarter for 2025. No huge staggering differences right now. We definitely were really optimistic at the first of the year going into 2026 when we did our end of the year market update in January. We were very optimistic looking at interest rates and very hopeful for our spring summer market, which is obviously, in most markets, that is the hot real estate season. With the war going on, that does change what things may look like. There's a lot more uncertainty because how the market looks going forward is really dependent on what is happening with that war and how long it continues, all of those factors that come into play. But right now, so far, activity has kept on par with what it was last year. So that's a good thing, especially under the circumstances. Let's go ahead and talk all things mortgage interest rates. We're going to bring in Jared. Let us get all the dish on what's happening in the rate market right now.
Yes.
Of course, we would love to be sitting here saying rates have come down again, but that's not happened yet. So tell us where they are. What are we looking at on interest rates right now?
So we've definitely had an increase just due to the conflict we're in over in the Middle East. So we'll be looking around a 6.35 conventional. We're still around the 5.9 FHA VA.
Okay.
So not huge changes, but obviously a little bit of an increase, but nothing drastic.
What are you seeing on mortgage application side first quarter? How did that look? What was the buzz in the real estate industry on new applications?
Yeah, so everything's been pretty flat, pretty solid. I mean, we've seen an increase in apps, but not what we were expecting just due to the uncertainties right now in the world.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
But it has been steady.
Okay.
We have seen a slight increase. It's just not as much as we were hoping.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I mean, I think everybody's kind of in a little bit of an uncertain state with all the conflict going on. And hopefully those things are going to be resolved sooner rather than later so that we can not have that uncertainty
I'm sure,
in our market, which is not fun for anyone.
No, and once we get that resolved, everything should steady out unless something else pops up. So, and then once we get over that hurdle, we expect big things at that point.
Okay. Well, one of the good things is we are seeing some slight increases in inventory. Again, this year we've seen inventory slight increases over the last couple of years, which has been helpful. Our market needed a little more inventory in it. So if you're in the buyer market, you have more options right now than you did previously, but we still don't have a saturated market. And in certain segments, I've had a couple homes this year that sold for over list price. We don't see that as often now, but it is still happening, and that's still an indicator of market and buyer confidence and those kind of things. So, so we're feeling very optimistic going into second quarter. Definitely no doom and gloom around here, which I'm just not a doom and gloom kind of gal anyhow. But I feel like there's still some good things to be seen for 2026.
Yeah, there's obviously good traction. I mean, we've seen an increase in sales, an increase in apps. Especially with everything going on, that's a positive sign. So hopefully it'll just go up from here. Yeah,
and keep in mind, we've got increase in overall sales price from this year to last year in all 4 counties, and total sales volume has gone up, transaction count up slightly. So, I mean, those are good things given the circumstances.
And I think we kind of touched on that a little bit last quarter when we were talking was if you're on the fence, there's no use to stay on the fence.
Right.
I mean, it's still a good time to make a decision and jump in the market at this point.
Yeah, yeah. Timing the market, it's not a great strategy necessarily, especially when you've got family needs and things that come into play that are beyond market circumstances. So my advice to a lot of clients is, rather than trying to time the market, why don't we find the timing that's right for you? Whether that's now or whether that is a longer term plan of what makes the most sense. But I'm not really an agent that is an advocate of trying to time the market on your buy and sell. I think there's so many more personal factors that come into play, and I'd rather focus on what's the right timing for you.
Right. I would 100% agree with that.
All right, awesome. Okay, well, that's all we've got, kind of short and sweet here. How do buyers get in touch with you if they're thinking about, hey, is this the right time for me? I want to have that discussion. I want to talk more about the financial piece of it. How do they reach you?
Yeah, just shoot me a text or give me a call at 706-681-9797, and I would love to answer any questions you have.
And same here. If you guys are thinking about buying or selling and trying to figure out what that looks like for you, especially on the home value side, if you currently own a property, what makes sense? Is this the right timing for your personal circumstances? Call me. Let's talk through all of that. 706-332-6349. And until second quarter review, we hope you guys have a fabulous spring, and we'll see you again in third quarter.
Y'all have a good day.
See ya.